how can these internet shutdowns affect everyone during official examinations? This webinar is organized by Internet Society and SMEX. Internet Society is a non-profit organization that strives to guarantee access to everyone to the internet, open internet, accessible to all, and in a highly trusted manner. Among the main projects of Internet Society is Pulse, the Pulse platform, in order to track the impact of the different changes on the internet and to measure and provide a platform to have access to internet measurements. Among these measurements is the internet-related shutdowns. In this platform, we concentrate on internet shutdown, meaning when there's no natural factors that affect the quality to internet access, like storms or a disruption in the network, but it is related more to, of course, to intended shutdowns in order to shut certain individuals from having access to the internet and some internet services. Last year, we have tracked around 50 intended shutdown. Since the beginning of this year, we have seen a similar figure, and we have determined varied patterns related to these practices, the practices of internet shutdown. Amongst the main variables and changes that we have seen is an increase in internet shutdown, defined internet shutdown, related to smaller geographical areas, and also related to mobile internet more than landline internet. The internet shutdowns is concentrated in different countries. We are pioneers in the Arab region in internet shutdown during official examination times. In the past few years, number of countries has limited access to internet services during the times around official examinations, either by complete shutdown or cutting or shutting down certain communication services. Now we have a group of panelists. We have Sarah Cupler, lead researcher at SMEX, and Dr. Ahmad Aljanazrah, Assistant VP for Academic Affairs at Birzeit University, Palestine, and Mr. Khattab Hamad, Media Researcher at BM Reports. They will share with us their different experiences, research experiences on internet shutdown or exam-related internet shutdowns, and the impact of internet or cheating in exams and how we can limit that, mitigate that, and also life experiences during internet shutdowns or actually exam-related internet shutdowns. We will begin with Mrs. Sarah Cupler. She will share with us a research that she has undertaken at SMEX in cooperation with the Internet Society on this matter per se this year. Sarah, the floor is yours. Until Sarah is ready to share her presentation, I would like to remind you that you can ask your questions in chat. You can ask either in English or in Arabic. And we would like to remind you that interpretation is available, simultaneous interpretation is available. You can listen either to the English or Arabic channels. Sarah?
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here for this discussion and to share some information on the research I've done on exam-related shutdowns in the MENA region. I'll begin with a brief introduction on shutdowns and explain terminology, then discuss the impacts and consequences of the shutdowns, and end with alternatives and recommendations that would be better suited. Oh, sorry. So internet shutdowns are a global issue. According to Internet Society Pulse, in 2021, the internet was shut down 42 times in 19 countries. In the Arab region, Egypt is one of the pioneers of this trend when they shut down the internet in 2011 to quell protests. So internet shutdowns have been used for a variety of reasons related to civil rights, but there's also a growing trend of using them to prevent cheating during exams. This was first observed in Syria and Iraq in 2015, with Iraq going so far as to use shutdowns for 6th grade exams. There are 4 countries that have continued to use internet shutdowns to prevent cheating in 2021, these being Sudan, Syria, Algeria, and Jordan. Just as a quick aside, different organizations can have different metrics for counting shutdowns, which is why it looks like there's been a huge decrease from 2020 to 2021, but that's just a different style of methodology, just to explain that discrepancy. So what do we mean when we talk about an internet shutdown? So a shutdown is when an entity, which can be either a state or non-state actor, intentionally disrupts the internet, usually to control access to information or disrupt the flow of information. Shutdowns can be nationwide or localized, meaning they're more targeted to a specific area. For this conversation, a full shutdown means access to the internet was fully blocked. But there are also different ways that entities can exert control over the internet other than a full shutdown. For example, throttling, jamming, and signal blocking, signal jamming and blocking are all common methods. So throttling is when the internet speed is deliberately slowed down to prevent users from accessing the internet. Jamming is usually done by using a signal blocking device that will block both phone signal and internet signal. And blocking applications usually requires internet service providers, ISPs, to block specific connections to servers that are hosting those applications. So we're looking at all these methods used to prevent exam cheating, as they all cause disruption to internet access. So the style of shutdown used in each country varied in length and severity. Algeria alternated between full shutdowns and throttling for 4 days during the exam period, which left residents unable to access the internet for over 11 hours a day. In Jordan, blocking of messaging apps was primarily used in and around schools where exams were taking place for 3 weeks, but there were reported internet outages and throttling for subscribers of Telecom Zain. In Sudan, full shutdowns for 4 hours a day were used during the 11-day exam period. And in Syria, a full shutdown for 4.5 hours a day was used for 3 weeks. I think one of the first questions that comes to mind when seeing these measures taken is, did this even work to prevent cheating? And to a large extent, it did not. In both Algeria and Sudan, exams were still leaked, and in Jordan, there were attempts at leaking. If we focus on Algeria for a second, Algeria has taken very stringent measures against exam cheating, which can even include going to prison for up to 1 year. In 2021, 77 students were charged with publishing topics and answers of the baccalaureate exam. However, even if this was a successful way to prevent cheating, it is fully disproportionate to the goal. Internet shutdowns have been condemned by internet advocacy groups and rights groups as they harm society, economy, and internet infrastructure, and are in contravention with international law. These measures are not specific and affect everyone. There is little to no notice given to users for these shutdowns, making them even more harmful and disruptive. And generally, shutdowns are very intrusive. They affect people's ability to communicate and access information. They cause disruption for hospitals, the education sector, especially if we think about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which led to a lot more online learning, but also for something more basic as being able to do homework or coursework if you're in university. The private sector was also impacted as their ability to provide their services was limited. And attempts to minimize this damage while still using these methods is largely unsatisfactory. So if we look at Jordan, which primarily used message blocking, Businesses still reported outages affecting their ability to provide services, and the COVID-19 vaccine rollout was disrupted. This was due to workers not being able to access data registration due to slow internet, which made for long queues, slower service, and huge crowds gathering at vaccine centers. If we look at Syria, attempted to minimize damage by having the shutdowns begin before working hours, but this obviously doesn't take into account people who work irregular work hours. And these shutdowns have proven to be very costly economically. The 2020 exam-related shutdown in Algeria cost the economy nearly $388 million, and the shutdowns in Sudan have been estimated to cost around $5.7 million. And if we take a closer look at countries, specifically countries experiencing conflict, the internet is used for keeping in contact with family, having up-to-date information on what's going on, and monitoring that situation. So limiting that access is deeply troubling and affects people's safety. To note, the examples on this slide are not exhaustive, but just used to highlight some of the issues these shutdowns have caused. These examples are also used to illustrate that the impacts of these shutdowns are both economic and social. So shutdowns, throttling, and blocking are harmful to the aspirations for an open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy internet, and the enablers needed to achieve them. This has, it makes it hard, the internet is an essential part of life and has been recognized as a right. It makes it hard for people to be able to depend on the internet if they know it can be shut down for something as mundane as an exam, which significantly harms the goal of having a trustworthy and reliable internet connection. This has consequences on the ability of people to use the internet to improve their lives, to be connected to others, and also to be a part of the world at large. To take an economic example, it's difficult to have an online business if you never know if the internet will be shut down. Business owners in these countries reported an inability to conduct their services, leading to wages lost. The internet is also an essential precursor to taking advantage of the digitalization and the economic growth that it provides to people. Sudan, Algeria, and Jordan are all attempting to expand their digital economies, even though they still implement these shutdowns. We also found that a country willing to shut down the internet for exams was using internet shutdowns for other reasons as well, and relied upon having a strong hold over the internet infrastructure or had significant ways of influencing ISPs. In conclusion, shutdowns for exam-related purposes is just another way to attempt to control the internet. It is not a proportionate or necessary response and has consequences for people beyond those taking exams. It treats the internet as something that is unimportant to people's daily lives and doesn't warrant protection. There is no logical rationale to such an extreme method that is largely ineffective when other alternatives are possible and less intrusive. For example, the government could focus on reforming the education sector by fostering a better culture for students, diversifying the style of examination so people feel better prepared. They can also focus on trying to prevent leaks by limiting access to exams or digitizing their distribution through encryption methods. They could act to reform legal provisions that allow for shutdowns and let regulators act independently. Civil society groups can, of course, help by documenting these instances and, where possible, engaging with decision makers to help end this practice, or use strategic litigation where possible, and as this was attempted in Sudan. For private sector, specifically to ISPs, they can regularly publish requests made to control the internet and notify users of such orders in a timely manner. Where possible, ISPs should challenge government orders to shut down the internet. So these are the main findings and recommendations that I want to share with you, and I'm happy to discuss this further. Thank you very much.
شكرا جزيلا لك سارة. وضحت لنا العدد من
Thank you, Sarah. You have clarified the different methods that are used by governments in different countries to disrupt internet or shut down the internet during official exams. Give an idea about the costs related to these shutdowns. Now we move to the other speakers. Dr. Ahmad Janazri, Assistant VP for Academic Affairs, Birzeit University, Palestine. Dr. Ahmad, can you give us your intervention, give us an idea about the educational impact of internet shutdowns or exam-related internet shutdowns? Is cheating truly a problem that could be solved by internet shutdown? Thank you. Should I speak in Arabic or in English? Whatever suits you. So I'll be speaking in Arabic then. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be with you here in this important webinar. At the onset, my name is Ahmad Aljanazrah from Birzeit University, Palestine. And if I may, I will speak in 5 minutes as asked, as requested, about Birzeit University experience in relation to official exams or internet-based examinations, and the challenges that we have faced, either cheating, also how this is how this gave, how could we just through that in regard when evaluating or assessing students. Birzeit is an international university, is one of the universities, that was surprised by the COVID-19 pandemic. We were not ready, and then we moved directly and quickly to online assessment and online learning. The main problem that we have faced is that neither the professors or teachers were ready for this move or this change, nor the students. And as you know, exams is a form of assessment, and exams lead to pressure, put pressure on students. It requires students to be placed under pressure. So what if also that student is under another pressure, which is internet disruption, internet shutdown, or weak internet services? It is true, I would like to add to that, to this problem, another problem that we have faced in Birzeit University, which is hacking attacks, cyber attacks that led to internet disruption. We didn't know the source of these cyber attacks, and this led to internet shutdown during examinations, and this added a form of another form of pressure on students. You know, the student, when they are on the internet, they are sitting for an exam, and suddenly the internet shuts down without any reason. This added another form of pressure on these students, and it sometimes led to depression because they cannot do anything. The internet shut down, and I'm losing the exam in front of my eyes. What is true is that I would like to tackle some of the educational consequences and impact and academic impact of this disruption and shutdown. The first that we have to look into is, why do we have assessments, exams, and what are the other means that we can use to assess students in order not to only limit cheating, but help students as well to express what they have learned in a better manner. The main problem that I see on the educational level, most times we use examinations and assessments to learn and not a form of learning, i.e., the main aim for the teacher and the student is to know how much students learned through this assessment, through this exam. And assessment is not a form of learning, i.e., assessment helped the student, the learner, to uncover points of strength and weaknesses. So the exam, instead of being a pressure, it is a way that supports students. And this, of course, this will this perhaps will avoid unethical practices like cheating. The other issue, or the main issue, the assessments and exams, or assessments through exam, is something that we have to rethink, reevaluate. In Birzeit University, we have undertaken a survey for the difficulties students face through an online questionnaire, and we we found that internet assessment and exams was not just. Why? There were different reasons for that. One of these reasons is that, many students at home, they do not have a number of devices, enough devices to access internet to sit for an exam. When there's a family, this family has, for example, a child at school, others and other children in university, and how will they sit for an exam online when there is a limited number of devices? Also, the internet speed is very limited as well. This added other problems, household and family problems, domestic problems that exacerbated dealing with this issue. So what we have to think of, are there, or actually, do we provide by online exam equal opportunities, for students? And this is a very big problem. The other issue is also related with the form of assessment. And like Sarah mentioned when she said it's very important to diversify assessment, methods of assessment, not only to use, of course, live or real-time exams, because if there's real-time exams and internet shutdown takes place, this will affect the grade, the students. So the assessment should not only be by a real-time or a timed exam, but to allow the student to express the learning progress and the learning objectives in a different manner. I would want to add, if I may, when we talked about justice or equality, if this online exam was just, we have seen other phenomena. Some students gathered as groups, cheated, and sometimes when the camera is shut off during the exam, you don't know who is sitting for the exam. And there are other ethical, of course, considerations related to privacy. Where am I supposed to oblige the student, him or she, to open the camera? Can I, for example, oblige them to open a camera when they are living in hard domestic, for example, environment and things related to privacy? Hence, there's a set of challenges related to online exam, and the shutdowns increase or exacerbate these challenges. The solution mainly perhaps is related to two main points. The first point, diversification in assessment and exams. The second point is holding assessments and exams as a form of learning and not only an assessment to learn or exam to learn. Hence, it will become a part of the learning and education system of the student. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ahmad. I will get back to you in a bit to hear your opinion about a different matter. A number of countries shut down internet in general during exams. So there is a countrywide internet shutdown during official exams. And so there's shutdown not only for students who are sitting for the exams, but there is a countrywide shutdown that affects all citizens. I would like to hear your opinion. Does this actually limit cheating in paper exams? I will get back to you, but after we listening to the experience of Khattab Hamad from Sudan, living in internet shutdown. Thank you for having me first. I would like to mention in 2 weeks' time, the official exams in Sudan will begin. And of course, we expect to have internet shutdown for 3 hours daily over 2 weeks during exams. During official exams in Sudan, internet was shut down twice. One was in September 2020 and June of last year. The first time, I have witnessed both experiences. First time, the internet was shut down, especially mobile internet. The second time, limited access to internet was available for banking applications and taxi applications. When internet shut down, you can use SMS and voice messages, but it is very expensive and unsafe because this limits privacy and these messages could be hacked. And as you have mentioned, internet must with regards to landline internet is very difficult because the infrastructure in Sudan is not optimal. This is why when there's a country when there's an internet shutdown, makes it impossible to continue communication during that period of shutdown. With regards to my experience during exam-related internet shutdown, this limits freedom because my work, for example, is dependent on internet, and when there's internet shutdown, it limits my work. So I used to move from one spot to another where there is landline internet to be able to communicate with others during for my business, and also to be able to share the events that I was documenting. If I am on a mission, an official mission, or work mission, or social mission, I used to determine my priorities based on the internet availability. And this led to great economic loss and cost. Also, internet shutdown leads to the loss of revenue to the state. And as you know, because there's a lot of businesses in Sudan that are internet-based and work is disrupted during the shutdown, and I have witnessed that. I was working with partners outside of Sudan, and this disruption actually disrupted my work with these partners. Some small business owners, their work stops completely because they are internet-based, and this actually will lead to great economic loss. And also, even the internet shutdown during exams, even for 3 hours, affects professionals who use internet in their profession, in their work, especially freelancers on the social level. In one of the exams, I had to communicate during this 3-hour shutdown actually affected doctors who were treating patients. And there are those who lost education opportunities even for 3 hours. And for me, I lost an opportunity to receive a certificate from one of the institutes because the internet shutdown was during the times of the lectures given by these institutes. And this is what I had to say with regards to exam-related internet shutdown.
Thank you, Khattab. We have indeed taken note of multiple similar situations in Sudan which have occurred during official exams. As Mrs. Taqdimi has already talked and said previously, there are multiple models used by governments in order to disrupt access to the internet during examinations. In Algeria, there was a complete shutdown at the level of the country, and this is an experience that was repeated over multiple years. There is also another throttling of the internet connection prior to the beginning of the exam and throughout the day. Dr. Ahmad, I go back to you regarding this. Thank you very much, Hanna. You have indeed handled an important topic. Is shutting down the internet an efficient way to combat cheating during exams? I think that the issue is way bigger than that, in a sense that education should be a daily life matter. We know that the internet and technology is part of our daily lives, and therefore it is important to use internet and technology as a non-divisible part of these examinations. If examinations are evaluating a certain knowledge that we can access or discover on the internet, why should I evaluate this knowledge? I think that the first step is to reconsider the way official exams are being done and what they are evaluating. If these exams are evaluating information that is found on the internet and thinking that shutting down the internet will prevent cheating, the worst that I could fear is that we are still thinking about examinations in a way that is not consistent with the era that we live in. This is the first matter. The second matter is that the nature of the questions and the nature of the formulation of these questions, does it assist the student in being a critical thinker? Does it assist him in thinking at a higher level? We are providing information at schools, but that is no longer the only role we play. Today, we are teaching kids how to think and how to use this information in their daily lives and in different situations that they are going through. So we need to reconsider whether these exams are evaluating these skills and whether shutting down the internet is actually preventing students from cheating in this to this regard. This is the first issue that I wanted to handle. On another hand, there's a side that is related to cheating as an ethical issue. Is the student, educator, kid, child, name it what you want to name it, are they aware of their strengths and weaknesses? Are they aware of why these information are important in their daily lives? Do they know how to improve their weaknesses? The way they view the evaluation would be different if they did. And they will know that it is not necessary for them to cheat. As Ibn Khaldun says on the matter of education, he says that being tough inherits this disruption. So when a student is stressed and is put under pressure and is asked to do things that go beyond his competences and put in a competitive context, what I should fear is that the student will go to less ethical methods such as cheating. So I believe that people who are putting the exams should reconsider the way it is put and reconsider the way it is corrected, because students need to be aware as well of the consequences and of the importance of this exam. Students should also be aware that the ethical aspect of cheating means that they could carry consequences on the lifelong term. Students should be aware of their strengths and weaknesses. On a cultural level, we need to know how to handle the results of exams and the social consequences of them. We should not be shutting down the internet. The internet should be up and running, and students should be evaluated on their skills. The students should be able to use the internet they should be able to compete on a higher level, especially in light of the numeric age we live in. Thank you, Dr. Ahmad. You have indeed clarified the origin of this issue, which is finding the solution to the symptom and not the issue. We expect many decision makers to try to find a technical issue for a non-technical problem. I give the word to Sarah. Do you think there is a relationship between internet shutdowns or disrupting access to internet during examinations and disrupting access to the internet during other times? Do you think that governments are disrupting access to internet? Do you think they are the same governments disrupting access to internet during exams and during other phases?
Yeah, so I think that there's a huge connection between using shutdowns for exam-related purposes and other purposes, because it's sort of about implementing control over a population. And if you have access to internet infrastructure and be able to influence ISPs, it's a way that it's possible to exert influence, to exert power, and also you can use it as a solution. If you're comfortable using it as a solution for preventing cheating, you're comfortable using it for other things as well. So there's a strong link between exam shutdowns and other shutdowns, because it's the general attitude that the internet isn't something that needs to be protected, and it's not a right that deserves protection.
شكرا لك سارة. فبالتالي نحن ننظر إلى
Thank you, Sarah. I think that we have looked into one side of the issue, which could even have bigger consequences, whereby people would be used to the idea of disrupting the access to internet at any time. There's a question addressed to Khattab. In your opinion, how can we expect the picture to be in the exam season in 2022? Do you think that there is an action that could be taken by the civil society that could influence decision makers in Sudan and other countries? Answer. Civil society in Sudan in general is not really interested in this matter. Even researchers, internet researchers, are very few. The efforts that are undertaken to stop this phenomena in Sudan are actually individual efforts. For example, I produce reports that reach a few stakeholders. We try to fight on multiple fronts, whether with human rights organizations or international organizations. We issue declarations or statements by virtue of which we are inviting the Sudanese authority to stop disrupting access to internet. I think that the last shutdown happened a while ago when the uprising started in October. And as I mentioned before, there was a limited access to taxi applications, to banking applications. And I believe that social media and other platforms are the ones that could affect cheating in exams. However, taxi applications, banking applications will not be affecting cheating. And I don't know how they will be managing the situation. With regards to the internet and with regards to the decision-making mechanism in this field, I believe it comes from the prosecutor's office, who will send a letter to the relevant stakeholders, mainly the authority competent in internet regulations. and this authority will send another letter to the communications institution. Access to the internet in certain issues, in certain matters, situations, could also be affected by political circumstances, and certain sites could consider that internet should be shut down for political and security reasons. To answer your question, I believe that the internet connection will be interrupted and disrupted for 3 hours, during which the exams will be happening on a daily basis for about a week all over the country. I think that mobile phones will not be able to access internet, and I think that only taxi and banking applications will have access to the internet. Khattab, isn't it worrying that we are expecting a disruption of internet access and we are just living with these measures? Do you think that a study such as the one that was done by Sarah could be interesting to do, with, highlighting the influence of such decisions on the market? Answer: I have previously published a study on the impact of internet shutdown in Sudan in 2019. However, in less than a month, within less than a month from publishing my report, the internet was shut down again. The decision makers will take that decision regardless of all the consequences that will be incurred on the economy or on the markets. They don't care about scientific and empirical research and numbers. They disregard such data when making this decision. Comment: it is indeed sad to see that this is the situation. Dr. Ahmad, do you think that the experiences of teaching experts in this field are being beneficial, or do you think that this experience is disregarded and that it could be part of the national security of a country? From a Palestinian perspective, there are multiple discussions happening regarding examinations, including the decisions that are, handled by our colleague from Sudan. I think that these exams, after all, are deciding of the fate of the students in the future. There are multiple discussions happening. Undoubtedly, there is an influence coming from the results of the research done. We are trying to benefit from the research that is done. Multiple research papers have shown that we need to reconsider examination methodology, whether exams are an evaluation method. Indeed, we are evaluating the way the student is learning. We are connecting the student with his daily life, but the internet is a part of the daily life. So if we are disrupting access to internet, we are disrupting a student's access to his own daily life. So I think that this is being reconsidered at the level of schools and universities. The main objective of an examination is to prepare a student or a university or school student to go through life with all the tools that are available to him. And we are directing the conversation in this direction. Yesterday, we were with meeting with other universities who are excited to receive the results of the research done regarding the importance of access to internet in education and evaluation. these results are not only related to the mechanism of evaluation, but also the directions and orientations. This research is taking also into account the pandemic and its effects on the evaluation methods. Therefore, there is a thirst that is being shown on the side of educational institutions regarding these results. They are waiting for these results. And let's not forget that changes at the level of educational institutions and mechanisms are much slower than the ones at the level of the technological world. Given all the bureaucratic processes that need to be included and taken. Let's not also forget that children are used to a specific type of examinations, a specific type of uses of internet. And I think it will take us some more time to adapt the education mechanisms and evaluation mechanisms to the changes happening in the world of the internet. I think decisions should be taken at the highest level regarding the availability of the internet, the access to internet, the way we can integrate it in the educational mechanism. There's definitely a strong problem in infrastructures, especially internet infrastructure. The result of these research papers that are being published are very important because they will reorient the way infrastructure will be maintained and upheld for educational purposes. Thank you, Doctor. Indeed, these research are allowing us to move towards more positive outcomes. I think that it's important to spread the idea of internet as an important tool of in the daily life rather than disrupting access to it, because the availability of internet will be put into question by the users who will no longer trust the ability to access it. I would like to remind our attendees that it is possible for them to ask questions in the chat section. There was additional comments regarding a disruption of access to the internet in the Yemen. In the past 2 years, there was internet disruptions in 2022 and in 2021 for multiple weeks. I want to reassure that we have recorded 11 disruptions of access to internet in Yemen, whether in different areas or on a national level, from 2018 and up until today. And that it was done through the Pulse platform. We were able to access as much information regarding these shutdowns. I would like to go back to Khattab regarding cheating during examinations. Do you think it's a technical, a security matter? What is your opinion on this matter? I believe that access to internet is an ethical matter.
للأسف خطاب لا نسمعك بشكل واضح. ممكن تحاول أن تغلق الكاميرا.
Apologies for disruption of interpretation. Sound is distorted on the speaker's end. Khattab, could you perhaps repeat what you said? It seems that we have lost Khattab.
He has sent his remarks. We can read them. Khattab says that it's an ethical rather than security matter. Authorities are running away from their responsibilities. It's a phenomenon that we have noticed in multiple countries, followed by the research where we have tracked the access to the internet and we have seen that it is linked to official exams. I would like to mention as well that this type of disruption of access to the internet is actually an Arab concept, but it is not limited to the Arab world. While it has been exported to other countries, we have taken note of similar occurrences in India, Pakistan, and even a larger exportation to other regions. And this has required studies regarding this phenomena and more focus on it, for we believe it is quite dangerous. We are normalizing the idea that the internet can be disrupted and interrupted at in any circumstance and situation. I would like to go back real quick to our speakers prior to concluding our session. If you have any additional comments in less than a minute, perhaps. Dr. Ahmed? Indeed, I would like to say that it is very important to address the main issue of cheating. I believe it is not the internet. However, the way evaluations are being done and the way evaluations are being handled, I think that this is a chance for us to reconsider the way we evaluate students and the way we offer education to students. I think it is time to focus on the fact that we live in a digital age, and therefore this digital world is an integrated part of our daily lives, whether we're an adult or a student. It affects our lives, our daily lives, and our future. Thank you. Comment. Thank you, Dr. Ahmad. I would like to indicate that we will also, sorry, we have already organized a workshop, and this workshop is happening in the month of June, on the 9th of June. I would like to invite everyone who is participating in this conference to participate in the workshop, which will cover multiple issues related to internet access disruptions. And we will also have speakers from India who will share their experience in this field. I also would like to point out that this study that was led by Sarah will be published soon to increase access to it by everyone and hopefully to use it among decision-making circles. I believe that technical solutions are not real solutions to prevent cheating, but rather a treatment only given to a symptom and not to the disease. We are disregarding a larger problem that truly impedes trust in access to the internet in general. I think we need to provide a chance for students to challenge the idea of internet disruptions. I think this is leading students to being more creative in how to cheat on exams. I think that exams are indeed a door towards the future of individuals. We will be publishing the recording on social media platforms. And I would like to remind you that if you have any questions regarding this topic or any other topic, you can reach out to us through the Pulse platform. There are clear connecting tools and communication tools. I would like to thank all of the speakers yet again, Sarah, Dr. Ahmad, and Khattab. I would also like to thank the interpreters, Farah and Valerie. You bore with us today. I would like to thank all of the attendees. Thank you, everyone.
Recording stopped.